We are pleased to be joined by Virginia Tech head coach Kenny Brooks. The Hokies are #1 seed and set for action tomorrow against Chattanooga. We'll open up the floor for questions for Kenny. Start with Mark in the front.
Kenny, have you and Sean been talking a lot this week, or have you gone to cone of silence this week with you guys playing?
No, we'll never go silent except for the 40 minutes when we start tipping it up. But no, I'm very proud of him and what he's done, what he's accomplished in a very short time. Being able to dive into his team a little bit further and just see what they've actually done, what they've created there. Very happy for him. He actually came to the office yesterday, and it was really weird seeing him. He walked in his old office, and it was kind of weird seeing him walk the halls. But no, very happy for him. We'll always continue to talk, be supportive. He's got a lot going on in his personal life. He's about to have another baby, and so a lot to talk about. But always will be friends for life.
I guess they used the practice. Their team used the practice facility yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Did all the other teams do too? I guess.
I don't know. I went home, Mark.
When you've been watching Chattanooga film this week, is it a lot of recognition of, okay, yeah, he brought that play with him, so I know what we need to do on defense, and vice versa, I guess? Or?
Yeah, it's very similar, and we knew it was going to be similar. Obviously we talked throughout the year, and he talked about the things that he brought with him. And it's not the same plays, but it's a lot of the same actions. And how you finish a play, how they're going to get the basketball to certain people, very, very similar. And so, we've been going over it a little bit, and kids are very familiar with it, almost to the point where we don't want them to be too familiar with it because, we anticipate a wrinkle or two here or there. We just want to be able to play basketball, but very, very similar. Styles are similar. The way that he's constructed his team is almost similar. So it's a good first matchup because just we understand what they're trying to do, and a lot of times when you step outside of the ACC, we played 21 straight ACC games, and then now it's you're stepping out of it again, and so it's a good opponent to go and have some familiarity with.
Kenny, for the last few years now, this has been the goal, hosting, not a one seed, but just to be able to host the first 2 rounds. What does it mean to you to have accomplished this goal, and what's it going to mean to play in front of a presumably a packed house tomorrow? Well,
it means a lot to our program. Obviously, when you're trying to build it, you have to dream it, before it can come to fruition. And I've had a lot of time to sit back, reflect on where we were, how we got to this point. One of the things I thought was pretty neat is that I think, you might have to double check my memory, but I think it was 2018, we went to the finals of the WNIT, and we played Indiana. And we were both. Terry Moran is a really good friend of mine. I admire her. I have a coaching crush on her, the way that she's run her program. And for us too, trying to take programs to a different level, and we got to the championship game, and I remember we played in Assembly Hall, and it was, I think, the biggest crowd at that point that they had ever had. And to fast forward 5 years, and both of us are #1 seeds, it goes to show you the importance of postseason and learning how to win. And we've always won since I've been here, but we've not always won the right games. And that's what we really turned our attention to. Yeah, we can win 20 games, but we want to win, 14 of those in the ACC. And that's where our programs come to, and the way the kids walk out and their expectations. We used to hope to win, and now we expect to win. And I think that's a big difference when you get to this level, and when you've accomplished something. And I'm not going to sit here and downplay it. That's an accomplishment, getting a #1 seed. I had as many chills and a blackout moment when our name came up there as a #1 seed as I did 3 years ago when they announced us back into the tournament for the first time in 10 or so years. And so major accomplishment, very proud of our kids. We celebrated it, we embraced it, and we put it away, and now it's time to go out there and represent that #1 seed. And we know people are going to come after us. We know people are going to doubt us. We know people say that maybe we shouldn't have got it, but we also know that there's a lot of people who said we should have gotten it. And so it really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It matters what we think, and we just need to go out and prepare.
To the back.
Coach Ian Sachs, Kelland Sports. You mentioned the importance of getting to that WNIT final a couple years ago. You have South Dakota State, who won the WNIT in your region right here. How much does that pose a problem for you, that this is a veteran team that has postseason experience from just a year ago?
Well, we're in a weird, it's like the twilight zone right now, because it seems like everybody that you play is old. You know, obviously COVID giving everybody an extra year. You run into so many teams that are so experienced, and you know, Aaron does a tremendous job with his program. First time I think I ever encountered Aaron, his program, we were in Cancun when I was at James Madison. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what a jackrabbit was, but after I watched them play and we experienced playing against them, you walked away and you knew that was a very well-coached basketball team who understood the assignment and that they were going to come out and play. And you know, I've always been a fan of that, not wanting to play against it, but you know, the way that they play basketball. So, you know, after the euphoria, you know, left us a little bit after, you know, being a number one seed, and then you start looking forward, you know, if you're fortunate enough to get past the first round, who would you have to play in the second round? And I kind of joked about the NCAA having a sick sense of humor, putting me up against Poppy, but then it's also two contrasting styles in the games that we're going to have to play if we're fortunate enough to get to the second round, because South Dakota State, they play a totally different brand of basketball than Southern California. And so it's just, but that's what the tournament's all about. It's what it's all about. It's about matchups. You don't know who you're going to play next. You get to that opportunity. The games are not played on paper, and that's what makes it fun for the fans, the fan base, and that's why it's called March Madness. And as a number one seed, we just have to try to prevent any kind of madness going on. But it's going to be a hard task because we know how good all the teams are that will be here in Blacksburg are right now.
We're going to take a question via Zoom. This is from Hank Kurtz of the Associated Press. As soon as he can be unmuted.
Hey, Hank. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hank, you can go ahead and ask your question. Can you repeat that for us, please? Try it again, Hank.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Kenny, as the father of girls, you know, the relationship that your team has with Liz and Raven seems like something really special. Kind of reflect on that a little bit, if you would, for me.
Well, first and foremost, yeah, it's genuine. Raven's a big part of our program, always has been. The first time that I met her when she came on a visit, she stole the show. And I know it's been well documented how we incorporated her into the whole process, but it was all genuine. And, my first year out of college, I worked at a Woodrow Wilson Rehab Center, and I was able to interact with, people with disabilities, all kinds of situations. And it was one of the best years I ever had in my life, because everyone that I encountered, regardless of what the outside world thought of them, they were very happy. And I think that they just really blessed this world. And for me, I've always been, willing and able to, just get to learn, anyone and everyone, regardless of what their situation is. My daughters, you talked about being a father of daughters, at their high school, at Spotswood High School, their coach, Chris Dodson, is a special ed teacher, and they would go to his classes and help interact with all the young people in his classes. So it's always been something near and dear to my heart. And when Raven came in here, she just captured not only my heart, but the whole program's heart, and getting to know her on a personal basis. And, to this day, I mean, she probably will text me maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And the texts are so innocent, and it could be about fidget spinners or what she's doing that day, and it always puts a big smile on my face. So I think us really just getting to know her, I think it really opened up Liz's thought process and what she wanted, because Raven is obviously Liz's hero, and just watching them interact, it's a thing of beauty. The patience, the sisterhood that they have with that whole situation, and we knew we were in good shape with Liz. I remember I was in Atlanta, and I was watching Liz play an AAU tournament. It was about 25 coaches on the baseline, And Raven was at the game, and she was going to the bathroom. And I remember she ran past all the coaches, and she took like 2 or 3 steps past me. And she put the brakes on, and she backed up, and she said, "Hi, Coach Brooks." And she waved at me, and she took off. And all the other coaches were like, who is that? And I'm like, yeah, we're in good shape with Liz. So, but it's a special relationship. I love her to death. We had the autism awareness game a couple years ago, and we gave out sweatshirts and T-shirts. And I had Raven sign my sweatshirt, and I got it framed, and it's in my office hanging up. That's the only jersey that's in my office, and that's how special she is to us.
To the back.
Coach, they say if you build it, they will come. Can you walk me through the emotions on Monday as tickets were flying and eventually sold out in a crazy amount of time?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Monday was a blur. Obviously, again, the euphoria of hosting and being a number 1 seed. And I've been screaming it from the mountaintop since I've been here. We play a really good brand of basketball that's very exciting. It's fun to watch. So all we need people to do is come in the gym, experience it, and they'll come back. And Virginia Tech is a special place. The fan base is second to none. They come out and they support so much. And we watch it firsthand with our men. And the girls come and they watch. They watch a sellout crowd. And then, we've been slowly building our crowds. And this year's been phenomenal because Hokey Nation has made a good team, a great team. The atmosphere in here is second to none. It's loud. You don't only hear people, you feel them. And so when tickets went on sale on Monday, and I think they sold out within an hour, I referenced it to being like we're the Beatles. And it was probably a really bad reference because my kids don't know who the Beatles are. I probably should have said like Taylor Swift or something, and they probably would have gotten it. But it's just remarkable the way Hokey Nation has come and represented, and they're going to be able to show out for our kids. And that's special to me, and as it was stated earlier, I'm a father of 3 daughters. I've been coaching women's basketball for 20-some years, always championing for the opportunities for them to get what they deserve. Things might not always be equal, but we want them to be fair. And for our kids to be able to experience this, that's going to be an accomplishment in itself for me, because I know how hard they work and they deserve opportunities like this. So I'm gonna again, like we celebrated the championship trophy. The biggest moment for me was watching them enjoy it. And a big moment for me, tomorrow, and hopefully, if we're fortunate enough to get past tomorrow and then Sunday, will be to watch them experience something so special.
Right here.
Andrew Webb with WDBJ7. Kenny, when you look back on this group, I know there's still work to be done, but there's banners hanging in Castle, things from this team. What do you want people to remember or take away from this group? I
just don't want you to take them for granted. Elizabeth Kitley is we've never had an All-American here. Now she's a 2-time All-American. And sometimes you don't get bored with it, but you just expect her to, get her ho-hum 20 and 10. And I want everyone to realize it. Georgia Amore is going to be one of the best players to ever play here. All right, don't take it for granted. Watch it, embrace it, celebrate it. She was named honorable mention All-American the other day. It's kind of ironic for an Aussie, but they're special, and it doesn't stop there. Kayana Traylor is probably one of the most unselfish players that I've ever encountered, who gave up an opportunity to be an all Big Ten performer to come in here to win. And we won a championship, and she gave me a big hug, and she said, "This is why I came here." Taylor Soule, who was all ACC at Boston College, sacrifices enough to come here, elevate her game, and watch her tears of joy after we win a championship. It's what it's all about. So Hokey Nation is blessed to be able to be represented by these young ladies, and not only on the court, but in the classroom, in the community, and they represent extremely well. So there are going to be banners that are going to be hung. There's going to be a legacy that's going to be left. But I think the biggest thing is that we have tremendous young ladies representing our program.
2 more questions, one here and then one here.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. Kenny, when Sean was here, I know it's probably he did so much for you guys, but what specifically was his impact on your program? And to now be coaching against him in his first NCAA tournament, what is that going to mean to you, and how have you kind of embraced that, I guess? Sean
wore many hats here, which was great for me. If I needed him to be good cop, he was good cop. If I needed him to be bad cop, he was bad cop, which allowed me to be good cop. Later on in his career, I gave him more and more responsibilities that was going to help prepare him for his next opportunity. And that's how much I relied on him. It's how much I trusted him. He has a great basketball mind. Our minds really worked together extremely well together. And he was just loyal. I mean, extremely loyal to the vision, loyal to the way that we were going to get it done. So much so, I know he believed in it so much that I see him, duplicating it, the same thing, at a different level with Chattanooga. And but I don't think we would have gotten to this point without his loyalty and his dedication, his ability to just really dive in and make us better. And I'll always be appreciative, as I know he will, for the things that I did for him. But true friend. But he's a big part. He's a big part of our success, and as we continue on, because he's done a tremendous job for us.
Last question.
Kenny, to follow up on something you said earlier here, you said you talked about wanting to prevent the madness as you've got the March Madness behind you. What was kind of your message to your team about that? Because obviously you are a 1 seed. People expect you to get past this weekend, but there are 3 other teams here. Yeah,
I mean, and 3 very good basketball teams, and we know that. We understand that, and they haven't gotten caught up in, the brackets or who's here, who do you play next, what do you do here and there. They understand that, it's one game at a time. We've been in this mode probably for about a month and a half. Just worry about the next game, but also worried about ourselves. We put ourselves in position that we're good enough that if we take care of what we're supposed to do and we handle things the way we're supposed to do it, we give ourselves a tremendous chance to win. We don't need a lot of help from the outside. We don't need somebody to have a bad game. We can kind of dictate what's going to kind of go on, and that's been a beauty of where we are, and that kind of comes with the expectation. Instead of hoping to win, we expect to win. And if we know we go out and take care of what we're supposed to take care of, we give us a chance to win. But this is why you're playing right now. This is why the excitement, this is why the juices are flowing, because anything can happen. They're going to watch TV, and soon enough they're going to be upsets all over the place, and that's why we play the games. But they're fortunate, they're happy to be a part of it, and they understand that they have an opportunity to build on their legacy, but they also have an understand that they don't come to play well. Stranger things have happened. But this group is really locked in. They're focused. I've mentioned it several times. I've never had a group this connected, and it's because, as we talked about earlier, they're all old. I'm looking at them, and their bones are creaking. Some of them are 23 years old, and that just doesn't happen. COVID made it possible, but sooner or later, things will go back to normal where you have younger kids, but we have older kids now, and they understand the assignment.
Coach Brooks, thanks for your time. Best of luck with your team tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.